Hello people from the future, welcome to Normalized Nerd. In this set of videos, I am showing you how you can implement your machine learning application into the browser using Flask app. And in this very particular video, I will be showing you how you can connect your machine learning model with your Flask application. Now this is a follow-up video, so I will request you to please watch the previous videos to continue from this video. So what we have done in the previous videos, I have already shown you how you can get started with your Flask app, how you can make your very first Flask app, which you are seeing right now in your screen, and how to build your model for this very particular project and save it in a .h5 format. So today I'm going to just upload this model to our server so that when the user will just upload his doodle or upload a previously drawn image, our model will predict which class the doodle belongs to. So let me just jump into the code portion. So this is the code portion we need for this video. So you can see that we have some dependencies here. So I will request you to please import these things before getting started. So as I have shown already in previous video that to initialize any Flask app, you need to write this line of code. And after that, to load our .h5 model, which is a Keras model actually, saved in .h5 format, you have to write this function. So what this function does is it is making a model variable, which is a global variable. After that, model variable, uh, in the model variable, I am loading our model underscore new .h5. Now I should show you the folder structure here. Let me just get into this. Okay, so this is our folder structure. In this directory, we have our app.py file. We have our .h5 model. So what I'm doing here is just loading this .h5 model by this method called load model, which I have imported from keras.model. After that, you need to write this line of code model dot underscore make underscore predict underscore function, and then this print statement I have included just to show you that it is really loaded in our server. And one thing I should mention, if you want to use your TensorFlow model, then you have to use the TensorFlow sessions, which I am not going to get into this video. So after you have written this thing, we need to call this function, right? So this is the thing where we are calling this function, and after calling this portion will execute it. And before calling this function, I will just print this statement just to give you the feeling that it is really working sequentially, that as we want. So as usual, in the last we have our render template, which will just load this template. Okay, so for the first part of this video, I won't be including the actual UI. After this, after running it successfully, I will show you how to include your actual UI, the final UI. And I will be just starting our Flask server, right? So let me just open the command prompt from this directory. As usual, set flask app equal to app.py flask run. You can see that it is using TensorFlow as backend, loading model, and model loaded. Yes, so if you are seeing this thing, then you are sure that your model is loaded successfully. So now just let me go to the browser and just refresh it. So here you won't be able to see any changes because I haven't changed this thing, this index.html thing. It is still the same as we have already saved in our templates folder, this thing. Okay, so now we need to write the code for uploading the doodles and images to our server. So for that we need to change our index.html file. So let me go to the code. So this is our previously written index.html code. Now we are going to modify it. I will just copy and paste the thing that I have previously written. So let me just open that. Okay, so this is the code that I am going to paste here. Okay, don't worry about it. It looks complex, but it is actually not that complex. So I will be just start explaining each and every line. So first of all, you can see that I have linked a external CSS file. So from the path, you can see that we have to create a folder name static in which we have to put the style.css. So let me do that first. So I have to create that folder named static. Inside of which we need to create our .css file. So I have already created the .css file. I will be just pasting it and then I'm going to show you the code for it. And besides this style.css, we also going to need this jQuery.min file, this sketch JavaScript file, and this upload image. So I will be just copying everything from here and let me go back to our folder. So here the static file I just created, here I'm going to paste it. So now I'm going to show you the codes for it. Okay, let me just open the CSS file. So here is the style.css file. Okay, so in the style.css file, I don't really have much to explain. It's just doing the style thing. So you can, if you want to implement the same style as I did, you can just copy the code from my GitHub repository. Okay, so I'm going back to index.html again. Now we have a div structure here. I have used this div structure to implement the two column look of my application. So here you can see I have two divs. This div contains all the elements that belongs to the left portion of my application, and this div contains all the things that belong to the right. Now in the left portion, the most important thing, the most important element is this HTML canvas, because it is this place where the user will draw his doodle. And we can also see that I have added two buttons here. This clear button actually clears the canvas, because if we don't add this clear button, then the user just have to refresh every time he wants to add his new doodle. And this predict button just sends a request to our server, and our server will respond with the correct prediction. So now let us come to the right portion. Here the most important element is this input, because it is this place where the user will upload his images. Now one thing I should mention, that if you want to give your application nice look, you really don't want to have the broken image icon, the default, which is the default for HTML input. So to hide that default broken image icon, you have to add this thing. And another nice look you can give to your application by adding an image just below the input box. I will just show this image. You should remember it from the demonstrations video. This image will be there in the right portion just below our two buttons. So here you can all see the just like the left portion, I have a predict button for right and an upload button to give it just a nice look. Okay, now let us scroll down. So here you can see I have added the jquery.mean.js, which I showed you in here in our static folder. I have this jquery.min to use our jquery functions, and below that here I have included the sketch.js file, this file, this file. So let me just show you this file. This sketch.js file actually does not contain any machine learning thing. So if you are not comfortable with JavaScript, then you actually don't need to understand it. You can just copy and paste it. I will just tell you the logic. So here what it does, it actually, whenever you move your mouse over the HTML canvas, it just draws a line to your previous mouse location to your new mouse location. By doing that, it shows us the path that we have just created in our HTML canvas, which we see as our drawing. And if I scroll down, you can see that here is the clear button, which just clears the thing. This is actually the clear function. Okay, so now I'm going back to our index.html file. So here now we have to add the most important component in this file. Now we are going to add the code which will enable our users to upload their drawings and images to the server. As you know that there are two inputs in our application, one where the user can draw in the browser and then upload it, and other is user can upload his previously drawn images. So for uploading the previously drawn images, we need this portion of the code. So what the code is doing, first we are declaring a variable, then we are selecting the image id, which is the id of the element where our image is getting uploaded. Let me just show you quickly. So this is the id image and it corresponds to our input element, and the input element is an image. Whenever the input gets changed, that is whenever the user will upload a new image, this portion of the code will get executed. So what this portion does is just basically will convert the image into a base64 string, and then by this, and when the user will select the predict button, that string will be uploaded to our server. So now the question comes, why we need to use the base64 format? This is because this is the easiest way to upload the images from the client side to our server end. And I should mention one thing here, that whenever you are converting a image into a base64 format, by default this substring will be padded before the original data. So we need to remove this substring from our original string. So after that I have written a console.log which will just show us that everything is working fine. And this portion of this code actually shows us the image, and this portion just removes the previous predictions, and this portion selects our predict button, and by clicking which this string will get uploaded to our servers. And now this portion of the code where the server responds with the correct prediction will not work at this moment because I haven't written the code for the response. In the next video I will show how to just get the response from our model. And below this, here is the code where the canvas element will get uploaded to our server end as a base64 string. Everything is pretty much same, just like this portion of the code. And when the user will click the prediction button, the server will respond with the correct output. But as I haven't included that response part yet, it won't show anything. And this portion of the code just clears the base64 drawing variable so that new inputs can be given. So now if we have written the correct code, then if I now run the flask server, we can see that our image uploading portion is done. Okay, so now I'm going to start our Flask server. So again, I am telling you what should we expect at this moment. We should expect that we see this console.log messages, and what we should not expect is to see this prediction because we haven't included the code yet. So let me just save our index.html, and I am going to our directory and starting our command prompt. Okay, just a few more seconds. Loading model, and model loaded, and it's running. So let me just go to our browser, and hey, look at that, our HTML has correctly loaded, and this image which we have included is correctly linked with our server. And I'm just going to open my console in the browser so that we can see the console.log messages. So let us try drawing a new doodle, and by clicking the predict button, what we should expect, we should see a string. And see, if you are seeing this string, this one, then you can be sure that you have implemented the code for uploading the image correctly. Okay, so now let us try to test this upload button. So I am uploading a image of a rainbow again. Open. So see, we are seeing this string. That means our code is working fine. And if we click predict, this string we are seeing right now, but see that we are not seeing any predictions here because we haven't included the code for that yet. So that was all for this video. So what I have shown you in this video is how you can connect your machine learning model with your Flask application, and how you can write the code for uploading the images from your user end to the server end. And in the next video, I will be showing you how you can get the response from the server side. The response will contain the prediction of the model. So stay tuned for the next video. If you are feeling a little bit more enthusiastic about machine learning and creative coding, then please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.